So TEM originally came while I was in Saudi, and somebody wrote their whole dissertation about the linguistic history of the word Allah. And in reading that piece, just because I was curious, in reading that piece, I came to realize that the word Allah predates Islam. And that concept just blew my mind. I grew up in a Muslim household. Like, I thought I would be very familiar, or at least aware, that this exists. And again,
Had no idea.
I had no idea. Just like my ignorance about this issue, like not only its like linguistic implications, but also its history was really, really surprising to me. And so in digging around the history of Allah and its implications, I came and found this whole range of information about these ancient people and their worship and their belief systems and what they held true in pre-Islamic or in Arabian paganism.
Paganism.
Yeah.
Cool.
And so the whole region.
They created Allah.
Yeah, exactly. And so the whole region, from Saudi Arabia to Yemen, even up to like the Levant, so like Syria, Lebanon, that whole area, they have similar stories. But Tem is actually the Arabic word for oath. It's for promise. And so when I chose the title, it was really important to me. It was almost kind of like a full closure, kind of like keeping the promise of bringing back these stories. And I'm not necessarily, it's not about worshiping something new or anything like that, but rather remembering and finding the sense of inspiration from these stories from this region, as opposed to always looking at myths from the West, for example. So this was like another reason why I chose to focus on this subject. Does it make sense to you guys? Or are you guys just like worried about how it fucking looks?
I got dual brains
You're
going.
like, you're like, bitch, we out here working. Not interested in the content, but good luck, honey. Good luck. So my collection consists of 21 poems. So number 21 is Allah, which is dedicated to the head, the concept, the ancient concept of Allah. And the first one, the prologue, is actually dedicated to the desert. And so when I finished the collection after, about 4 years of research, because it was a lot of digging and a lot of footnotes, looking at things in footnotes, and kind of compiling information that way and then expanding it in a creative way, where I would take like an inspiration and, find out this particular god was responsible for bringing rain. And then after that, I would kind of make up a story or, just have fun with it in that sense with whatever I had in mind. Yeah. But it wasn't
fill in the holes.
I would fill in the holes. I would make up whatever
Expand,
I felt.
invent.
Yeah. But there was nothing that I was really working off of. So it wasn't like I was reinterpreting or reworking. Like, it wasn't like I took Greek myths and then rework them for a modern one, which has been done before.
You took fragments of information about these,
pieced it together.
Yeah, about these deities. There's very little on them because they've mostly been erased. So you're taking fragments of research about these deities and then expanding and inventing.
Made something from it.
Yeah. You're not rejiggering stories of Ovid. No. You are adding your imagination
to it
and filling in the holes of these gods and goddesses.
So
cool.
it took a while.
Yeah, it took a while. And you did 20, and that's awesome.
It took a bit of time, but we got there at the end. And
Fantastic.
Then, so the collection comes in a box. And the idea was that these little origami figures represent gemstones. And each of the gemstones represents a deity. And so the idea was to open it up and for it to be presented as a really...
chest. It's like a chest of gems.
Exactly. Something really, really like not expensive almost, or something that's really valuable. Not expensive. Expensive is the wrong word, but valuable.
Yeah.
And so these stories have value, and I wanted to present them in that way. So the publishing company liked it and ran with it, and here we are. It's very important for me that people who are Arab, North African, or Middle Eastern in general, and are Muslim or grew up within that cultural setting, also understand that there is a beautiful and dynamic history that we can reach into for inspiration. That we don't always have to be looking outwards, but rather there is something internal that we can look into ourselves and kind of create, and there's space for that.
Yeah.
As opposed to always fighting against where we come from or seeing it as less than.
Yeah.
And so this was almost like a love letter or a testament to ourselves. The story of humanity, the story of our creation, the story of how we make sense of the world is very similar.
Yeah.
Wherever you are.
All universal.
It's all universal.
Yeah.
And so like creation stories from, places in South Africa to South America to China are all very similar in that sense of like trying to make sense of the world in whatever way that we can. I feel like stories like this also have space there.
Why do I need to know about Nordic gods?
But not know about Naila or Al-Uzza.
That's right.
Like, why is this history? Why are these stories more important than these stories?
Right.
And that was my questions as well at the end. Like, why are these stories worthwhile somebody's time? And these stories are not. And I feel like oftentimes us as people from the area, as creators, we're responsible for that. Like, we have to act as our own, I guess, spokespeople or our own cheerleaders and promote and push our own thing. And it's how people survive.
Right.
Like, if you erase stories, I mean, it's why people's traditions and their folklore and their cultures and their customs and particular dances and rituals are so crucial to your understanding as your role as a human or where you belong in the world.
Right.
Because if you you remove all these ties and these links, you just float.
Yeah.
There's nothing to kind of give you any sense of foundation or a base.
To ground you, to give you purpose.
To grow. I'm not saying go backwards. There's no need for us to go backwards,
Right.
but rather understand here so you can, go forever that way.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
Dog shitting in the background. There's a lot happening here.
Yeah.
All right, I think we're good.